our buttons working? They are. All right. And it's a little choppy. Oh, it's better. Okay, it's good. It's just on my end. Hi, how you doing? Welcome to the show. Thanks very much. Oh, hold on. My door's a little bit. Which is fine, except, we have kittens, and they'll come in. By the way, ponytail today. No haircut. I sometimes, like the warning of the extra long bang, I think, hello, can sometimes let people know that it's not a haircut. It's not a new do. It's just back because I've been working under my desk, and that requires just kind of getting it out of the way. It happens. There ain't nothing wrong with it. It's all right. Oh, thanks. Yes, can't stop lying. Look at this. Yeah, something special on the way. Yes, it's an extra long what? All right, we have a lot to cover today, obviously. Happy Monday to everyone. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to like and subscribe, thumbs up, all that kind of fun stuff. You know it. I don't have to tell you what to do. And meanwhile, we do have, this is, if there's a picture that kind of sums up Trump in this craziness, I think it's this one. Increasingly, we are seeing the whole, Biden can't tie his shoes storyline from the right. And it's largely based on the reality that Trump is having an increasingly hard time doing that, and therefore, always the projection. I have not watched this. I've seen their clips and some varying thingamadodgies. Thanks, Judy. There's little things floating around. I have avoided looking at them, so this is the first time I'm seeing this. Now, this is on Rumble, so it makes it very hard for me to jump back when there's you can't quick rewind and quick forward on here. So I would prefer if we found it on YouTube, but we can't because it's just because of the high-tech censorship. But in the meantime, oh, right on, Jacqueline. I'm very glad. I'm glad I did it justice. Twitch is being a wiener? Oh, no. Is it all right, everybody? We're at a level 4 hype train already, so that's a good sign. Thank you so much. Don't forget bits and all that kind of stuff. All right, I did that. All right, here we go. Let's see what this is. Now, I think I've not watched any of it, but I've queued it up just past the end of the Lee Greenwood thing. So he's been wandering. It's nice to see some guys in Sarasota wearing blacksfortrump2020.com shirts. Make of it what you will. The delay in that, yeah. So, here we go.
Wow, that's a lot of people. Thank you.
Largest gathering of Florida men ever. So, just in case you were wondering.
Well, thank you very much, and hello, Sarasota. Special place to me.
Because it's near, and he doesn't have to. It doesn't show that he doesn't have the Air Force One anymore.
Special place, and I'm thrilled to be home in the great state of Florida with the thousands and thousands of proud American patriots who stand strong for faith and family and God and country, and never forget free and fair elections and strong borders. Let me
very choppy. Is it choppy for you guys or just for me? This might be their feed.
Begin by wishing each and every one of you a blessed and happy 4th of July. And also, please, may we have a moment of silence for the victims and families of the horrible building collapse in Surfside, Florida. Thank you.
You're kind of missing the point of a moment of silence. Pointing to God.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
He saw that on a sports thing once when there were some sports things going on. Someone pointed up when they won something, and therefore, I'll start doing that.
Terrible, terrible tragedy. Tomorrow we will celebrate.
By the way, a terrible tragedy that would have been averted by retrofitting and the proper recognition that regulations work. So just for that.
Celebrate 245 years of glorious American independence. And it will not be canceled, by the way. It won't be canceled.
No, yeah, he was right. 4th of July was not canceled. It still existed. Yeah.
And we will teach young people across the country that George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Thomas Jefferson, John
Jefferson
Adams, Benjamin Franklin, John Hancock,
and names on list in front of me
will forever be American heroes. People want to take their names off buildings. Can you believe it? They took names off buildings like George Washington. And I told you, this is where they're coming from. We're not going to let that happen. They will never be.
Well, it happened, and it's, you could convince them, but you're kind of an example of it not working. So I maybe the best way to convince them is to disappear.
Purged from history or canceled from our hearts. The mission for all of us here tonight is to preserve the legacy of July 4th, 1776.
Just in case you're not aware, that's when the Spanish flu started. By the way, the mission for this evening is to make sure as much camera time is applied to text Florida to something number to save America. There and by save America, he of course means donate to his PAC, and don't forget to uncheck and remember not to uncheck. It's very complicated. The boxes that would make it an automatic recurring multi-$100 donation, whether you want it or not. That's this little blue box right here, 100%.
And to defend our liberty from the radical left movement that seeks to cancel this date, demolish our heritage, and destroy our beloved nation. In just 5 months, the Biden administration has launched an all-out assault on everything we cherish.
Everything? Criminy. You must cherish very little.
And we value.
Oh, you value them as well. So everything you cherish and value. So, sexual assault, tax fraud. Yeah, there's been an all-out assault on that.
Under Joe Biden.
I mean, you might feel better because Cosby got out. I'm sure you breathed a sigh of relief.
And the left. I don't know if it's Joe, to be honest with you. It's somebody.
By the way, this is him having a hard time attacking Joe Biden as, fellow same-age white guy.
Does anybody know who it is?
Yes, it's Joe Biden. It's his plan. It's his strategy. It's all the stuff he's campaigned on multiple times. It's stuff he talked about when he was vice president. Yeah, it's him. You mean who wanted to fund police using help local constituencies, local police departments hire more police officers, for example, after losing them because of budget cuts and lost revenue, using leftover COVID funds. Yeah, that was Biden. That was Biden.
It's somebody. Free speech is under
that was a riff.
Assault like never before. Religious liberty is being crushed. Nobody took care of religious liberty like we did.
But wait, what? Weren't you president when supposedly religious freedom was attacked and you couldn't gather in churches during COVID? Weren't you president when that happened? Can't people go? They can go to church now. You do realize that, right? Like everybody can go back to church now. I mean, they want you to be vaccinated, and if you're not, you should wear a mask and that kind of stuff. But there's no limitations on it. There were last year when you were president, right? Am I mistaken on that? Sorry, did Biden get in and stop people going to church, or did that happen when you were president? I see.
Dissenters are being persecuted. Our streets are being overtaken by vicious thugs and bloodthirsty criminals. Democrat cities.
Yeah, well, that's because that's where all the people are. It's also where the biggest economic recovery is happening. So, kind of go with the bad.
Our border is being erased before our very eyes. It was never.
It is? Gosh. I guess that slat fence didn't work out as well as we thought it did.
Stronger than the border that we created just a few months ago.
Uh-huh.
Critical race theory is being shoved down our children's throats and into the ranks of our military.
Is that how you get to the ranks of our military? Through our children's throats? Is that, I don't know. I'm going to need a map.
And our generals are even going for it. Maybe they're just doing that because they think that's politics. They ought to focus on
generals are known for their politics.
China and Russia and other things of far greater importance. Big tech monopolies are out of control. Men are allowed to play in women's sports.
Well, no, trans women are allowed to play in women's sports, but, with certain limitations.
So unfair, so crazy, and so bad for women's and the whole women's sports movement. So unfair, so bad. It'll end, hopefully soon.
It'll end.
Sooner rather than later. And our leaders...
hopefully sooner rather than later. So you're not being reinstated in August? I guess we're just settling on that now?
Are weekly bowing down to Russia, Iran, and communist China.
How? How? I mean, I know he says that. He said it a bunch of times.
There's only one way to save our nation. We have to work harder than ever before to win the colossal victory for America First Republicans in the midterms next year. And we have to keep fighting exactly like we are for right now.
Wait, exactly like we are right now for right now?
Big tech monopolies are out of control.
Hold on.
Men are allowed to play in women's sports.
Hold on. I'm going to see if I can monitor this out to the... yeah, that's okay. That's playing. Okay.
So unfair, so crazy. And so bad for women's and the whole women's sports movement.
It's so bad for women's. I don't know if you know that, but that's the plural of women is women's. By the way, in case you hadn't been keeping up, the talking point is that Biden can't speak. But that's, I'm sure that's only a talking point that women's have gotten.
Unfair, so bad. It'll end, hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah, so hopefully.
And our leaders are weekly bowing down to Russia.
Weekly, mean they're being weak, or it happens weekly? Is it on can we schedule it? Is it a Wednesday?
Iran and communist China. There's only one way to save our nation. We have to work harder than ever before to win the colossal victory for America First Republicans in the midterms next year.
Which, by the way, means to defeat every other kind of Republican because they are the primary enemy, which is my favorite part of these rallies.
And we have to keep fighting exactly like we are for right now.
We need to keep fighting exactly for right now. Okay.
And I'll be doing exactly that. And we need your help. We need the help of this great country. And I just left Ohio a few days ago. We had 42,000 people also.
No.
And this
this is a Sarasota rally.
Crowd is big. They say you had like this massive storm. They say we lost nobody. We lost nobody.
Well, yeah, they drove all the way from Alabama. They're not gonna they're not gonna not show up at the thing.
I love those guys back there.
Boy. Yes, I clap at my own name being chanted as well.
Together we will take back the House, we will take back the Senate, and we will take back America. We're not going to let this happen.
We're not going to let what happen? It is happening. This is happening. Whatever you're not letting happen is actually currently happening.
3 days ago, I traveled to the southern border to witness Joe Biden's demolition of American sovereignty firsthand. You saw
Oh, sorry. So they're knocking the wall down?
that. What a demolition it was.
It was a demolition. It's written in the teleprompter right there. I mean, it's clearly a demolition. Yeah.
Biden administration's willful and deliberate obliteration of America's borders and immigration laws is a crime against this nation. We will not stop and we will not rest until illegal policies are overturned. And there's so many of them. They work so quickly.
It's amazing. They do it so well. What? Illegal? Well, they're illegal policies. That's what I mean. That's why you'd have to overturn them if they were. All right, never mind.
Under my administration, we stood up to the open borders lobby, and it is a big and powerful lobby, and nobody knows why. How the hell is this good for our country? People coming in, they're releasing.
Because they aren't?
Them from prisons, they're criminals at the highest level,
Criminals at the highest level. So white-collar criminals. So that's how Isle and Weisselberg got in. I see.
Murderers, drug dealers. We took on the corrupt.
It's like, yeah, the whole Donald Trump thing of the president of Mexico is releasing all these murderers and rapists and drug dealers and human traffickers and child traffickers and into our country. But he's a great guy, and I have a really good relationship with him, and I got along with him. We got along.
Up special interests. We fought the radical globalist left, and we won. We won so much.
That you lost?
And then we had a rigged election, unfortunately.
So you lost, is what you're saying. So even though you were winning all the time, you still... All right.
When I left office, we had the most secure border in U.S. history.
Because no one was crossing because of COVID.
We ended catch and release. We ended asylum fraud. We
ended asylum fraud? It's done. Oh, good. All right. Well, then we don't have to worry about it. Anybody who comes in who seeking asylum, clearly they have a legit claim. He's ended asylum fraud.
Stop the migrant caravans. You know the caravans? They're coming back.
Coming back.
Coming back like never before. We deported.
Well, no, they're coming back like I guess they were right. They were before.
Criminal aliens.
How do they come back like never before? All right.
By the tens of thousands. We achieved a 95% reduction in illegal border crossings, and we built nearly 500.
Compared to what?
Miles of border wall.
Nearly.
A really big, powerful, strong border wall.
Apparently, that does not work anymore. Apparently, it only works when the proper. It's like a magic gem or something like that. It only works when the holder has its He-Man sword.
Would have been nice if they finished the border wall, and they got to paint the border wall too.
Yeah, this whole thing is the paint.
We needed another couple of months. It would have been complete. It took us 2.5 years of...
And we never could paint it. It's the paint.
Litigation. We were sued by the Democrats. We were sued by Schumer, Pelosi, the Democrats.
You know who he wasn't sued by? The Mexican government for stealing funds to pay for the border wall. Because Mexico was supposed to pay for it, never did. Mexico didn't pay for it, by the way. And as far as the tariffs going back and forth, the companies that have either factories in Mexico or buy goods that are shipped in through Mexico, they pay that, not the Mexican government, just for the record.
2.5 years. We won 11 lawsuits, and we started almost 500 miles. Incredible, but they got...
You started almost? Huh.
To finish it up. Just finish it up. Little sections left.
And none of it works. Apparently, the numbers over the... it's a stampede. No, millions of people are crossing right now. The wall didn't do shit.
Already bought, already paid for. The steel and concrete are sitting right there. Just put it up and get it done.
And then paint it, of course, and then add, plaques.
But now Joe Biden has intentionally dismantled the border. and allowed the cartels, coyotes, child smugglers, woman smugglers,
Excuse me, it's women's smugglers. Just saying with a Z.
biggest smugglers. They're the women smugglers. Drug dealers, murderers, and savage MS-13 gang members to infiltrate our country.
Yes, disguised as 9-year-olds walking alone in the desert.
Like never before.
Like never before. Oh, like never before.
It's never been like this. Think of it, 6 months ago, we had the safest border in history.
Yeah, thank you, COVID. You did great. Nothing keeps people in their home country like a respiratory illness that's spreading out of control in the country you would go to normally.
Now we have the worst and most unsafe border in history. But we are...
Well, no. I mean, you can say it's up if you want to. You can deal with the fact that it raises and lowers, and as the heat goes up, obviously traffic goes down, and that kind of stuff. But it's obviously, we don't have like ISIS opening fire on the border. Let's not lose. All right, well, you got to see something.
We are helping other countries because their prisons are very soon going to be totally empty. Thank you very much. They're sending them into our country. They're saying, we don't want these people. They're sending them into our country.
And if they're single men, which they largely are, and they're apprehended at the border, they're deported back to those countries, and now they're not even in jail. So it's a great plan. And I'm sure Mexico's on board, just like, hey, Guatemala, yeah, just make sure your guys stay with the caravan as they're heading to the United States. So whatever you do, don't have them spread out and create drug wars with our cartels or engage in criminality. Nothing's worse than a Guatemalan rapist with the great self-control that they have, where they can get all the way through the entire country of Mexico without acting on any of their impulses, because they're just waiting to get to the United States so they can wait in a tent.
Biden terminated remain in Mexico. How good was that? You can't come in, you have to be in Mexico. They were taking everybody. He ripped up our Safe Third agreements with Central America. We had agreements with other countries. They didn't want to take back prisoners. They didn't want to take back MS-13 criminals at the worst kind, murderers.
No?
And I said, well, why aren't they taking it back? They didn't do it during Obama. You couldn't get them out of our country.
Yes.
They put airplanes all along the runway so our planes couldn't land. They'd have to come.
By the way, none of this is true, actually. The Obama administration deported a shit ton of those dudes
back into the United States, loaded up with MS-13 gang members. And you've heard me say this.
Yeah, it doesn't make it true.
I said to our people, really, that's terrible.
Is that what you said?
How much do we pay them? Sir, we pay them $500 million a year. I said, that's okay, stop payment. And I stopped payment.
And they said, yes, we'd love to take MS-13 back. We've heard this story. Let's check. He's adding the word sir, so you know it's false.
I stopped payment. And the next day, I got a call from head of Honduras, Guatemala.
Yeah, the heads of Honduras, Guatemala. Honduras, Guatemala is a very small country, but it's very important.
El Salvador. And they said, sir, you stopped payment on the money that the United States was, in brackets, stupidly sending us. You stopped payment, sir, why? I said, because you're not taking back people that should be in your country. You're forcing them into ours, and you're not letting us bring them back. And we're not going to pay you ever again. We're not giving you anything. They said, but sir, there must be a misunderstanding. We would love to have MS-13 back. Please, please send that. So the following...
And everybody believes the story. I think, right? Let's just operate on the premise that that anytime he says, sir, in a story, all these folks in the background, they lap it up. This is it.
The day, they all went back, and we sent them back by the thousands. And they reversed that, and they reversed our asylum reforms, and they halted the border wall, and they shut down ICE, the brave, great patriots of ICE, and instituted catch and release nationwide. And you know what that is. You catch someone, a criminal, a murderer,
and you release them.
You take the name, they don't have much of an address, and you release them into our country.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations. You've got a nice murderer now, and you have them by the thousands. In just 5 months, the Biden administration has created a crisis of unthinkable proportion.
Well, and you're the perfect person to handle it because you don't think.
Illegal immigration is up nearly 1,000% from when I was president. And at this time in 2020, think of it, there has never been anything like the border that we created. And people could come into our country, but they had to come into our country legally.
So, by the way, in case you missed it, statistically speaking, not only was it during COVID, but he's saying that 2020 was the lowest statistically that as far as border crossings, and then statistically we are back up, hundreds of percent in crossings, which would bring us, since we were so statistically far down because of COVID, back to basically the normal number that was happening to him in 2019. Almost nothing has changed, and so the war. And not only, by the way, is the number kind of consistent, but it's also the wall didn't do shit.
Arrivals of migrant alien youth are up nearly 500%, and they're
migrant alien youth.
They're being resettled in cities and towns all across the United States at taxpayer expense. And
yeah, and you know what? What a true Christian would want is if you find a 9-year-old in the desert, leave him there as a warning to the others.
They have suicide watch for so many of these young children. They're on suicide watch because the way...
Because what? Because why?
They're being treated and the way they were treated. You've seen them. They get them dropped off the wall. They drop them from a 30-foot wall. But there are many...
Wait, how did they get up the wall? How did they get up a 30-foot wall to drop a child? I'm just saying... It sounds like this whatever wall you're speaking of. I obviously don't know what you're talking about, but the said wall in conversation sucks as a wall.
Many of them on suicide watch, but that's not all. American taxpayers are now being forced to pay for the relatives of illegal aliens to be flown here to join them in the United States. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? Because it's called chain migration. You know what chain migration is?
Yeah.
Somebody comes, whether he's killer, not killer, drug dealer, not... He comes...
Killer, not killer. These are the two classifications of human beings. Yeah, like Melania's family is what he's talking about.
He's allowed to bring in his mother, his father, his sister, his brother, his aunt, his uncle.
How many of you just found out that Melania uses he, him pronouns? That's weird.
His grandfather, his grandmother. He's allowed to bring in anybody he wants or she wants, and we don't want that. And we ended it, and now they're opening it up again. They're bringing people in by the hundreds of thousands, by the millions.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, tens of millions. Just say it.
By the way, you know what?
Tens of millions. I mean, there are 40 million Latin American migrants have come in with their whole families. So that's 40 million of them, and they each get to bring 8 family members and carry the 2. And so we're talking about like 100 and like 240 million in a week.
When they report they're up almost 1,000%, they don't know, because for everyone you catch, they say 5 times. They say multiply times 5. I say multiply it times more than 10 times.
He is a math whiz. I say just whatever the reality is, just that doesn't sound bad. That sounds kind of normal and like you could handle it.
More than 10 times.
More than 10 times. 10 times, 10 times, probably, I would say.
They're destroying our country.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously. I mean, like, I don't know how anybody in Texas or Arizona even speaks English anymore. How would you?
We are witnessing an illegal mass migration that is planned, facilitated, funded, aided, and abetted by the far-left Democrats who, thanks to a totally rigged and dishonest election, now control the United States government. Think of that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Apparently, Joe Biden can't complete a sentence, doesn't know where he is. Democrats are weak and easily manipulated, easily led to, obviously with a fascistic streak, but still, snowflakes. Remember, these are snowflakes. And yet, somehow, while this asshole was president, they managed to gain control of big tech, the elections, the media, and all 3 governing bodies. And kinda, since I guess Amy Coney Barrett isn't towing the line she was supposed to tow, and even Brett Kavanaugh didn't vote the way Trump wanted him to, that somehow they have managed to, through a mind meld, like a socialist mind meld or something, they have seized control of the SCOTUS as well.
Think of that. Think of that. But
I'm thinking of it, I am.
that didn't happen in Florida, did it? Just as I predicted under Joe Biden, America has no borders, and if his policies
It doesn't, by the way, just in case you're wondering, it has no borders. None.
are not reversed immediately, we will have no country. And you know, I watch every once in a while some of our great people in Congress who are here. We have a lot of great people here tonight, and we're going to introduce some of them.
You mean the ones that live and work in Florida?
And we have great representatives, but I watch them say, oh, we have to immediately go back to the Trump policy. Not that easy. Like, you got to make a new deal with these countries. You got to make new deals with Mexico. I have a great relationship with the president of Mexico.
Yeah, he has a great relationship with the president of Mexico, who apparently is currently releasing rapists and murderers and drug dealers and child traffickers into our country so that he doesn't have any prisoners in his country. But Trump has a great relationship with him. I would just like to, I cannot point that out clearly enough. Is it? All right.
He may be a socialist, but I like him a lot.
He may be a socialist, but I like him. Yeah, he's not a socialist.
Is that okay?
He's not a socialist.
It's okay to get along with heads of other countries, don't you think?
Well, sure, obviously. Unless, of course, they are emptying their prisons into the United States. That would be a red line for me if I was president. I'm just saying.
You know, he gave us free 28,000 soldiers to protect our border. Free! I got them for nothing. But I promised not to put tariffs on his cars, but that's okay.
Oh, I see. So it wasn't free. It was at the expense of the American auto worker. By the way, notice he put him on our border, not the southern border of his country, which would have stopped the caravans and all that kind of stuff we were warning about. He put him on that border because we threatened him. But they have a great relationship based on threats that only damage the lives of our workers.
You know, they sold 32% of our automobile manufacturing business over a 30-year period. I'd say that's a lot.
But I helped him finish the job.
He's terrific, and we got along great. He did a great job, and one of the reasons we brought it down so low. And he doesn't want people coming from all over the world traipsing through Mexico. And by the way...
No, there's an I don't even know how to say traipsing in Spanish. We'll figure it out.
They come from the Middle East. They come from lots of places. You don't want to know about it.
Well, yeah, I do, actually. I would like to know about it. I mean, you could just kind of drive by say it, but I think everybody in the chat room probably would. You'd like to know it, guys, wouldn't you? If you had actual evidence of some sort of massive influx of terrorists or crossing the border, I would like to know that. I think that crowd probably, your crowd probably want to know that too, if it was true. You had the ability to recall specifics from memory. No? Nope. Okay.
Tonight, I want to speak to every border agent, ICE officer, and law enforcement professional who Joe Biden has cruelly betrayed. He's betrayed. They lied during the campaign. I told you they were lying, but a lot of people didn't believe me. They lied like hell. Did they lie about energy?
No.
Remember, we want energy. They're closing down everything.
They're closing down everything. You mean the Keystone Pipeline? The Canadian shale oil pipeline? Jesus Christ.
You will not be energy independent for another 2 weeks.
For another 2 weeks? Yeah, in 2 weeks we're going to be energy independent. But independent. By the way, in case you weren't following, our energy independence lasted 2 more minutes of his last interview. So I guess since then we haven't been energy independent, but according to him now, in 2 weeks we will be. I'm going to get a brain cramp from this bullshit.
I'll tell you what, another couple of weeks, you're not going to be I was so proud. We are energy independent. We didn't need the Middle East. We didn't need Russia. We didn't need anybody.
Yeah, we don't.
In 2 weeks, you will not be.
In 2 weeks.
Energy independent.
Yeah, I don't know if you know it. We're not going to be energy independent in 2 weeks because he's going to release his healthcare plan in 2 weeks, and it runs completely on coal, unfortunately. It covers all pre-existing conditions, but it is a coal-fired health plan. So, and we just don't have enough. We just don't.
They're canceling leases. They're stopping drilling. They want to go to windmills, right? Windmills. Wind.
Oh, is that how it works?
Wind. Oh, boy, oh, boy. They want to go, let's go build a windmill, Alice.
Who the fuck is Alice?
And if the wind isn't blowing, don't worry about it, darling. We'll have to learn to live a different way.
This is so stupid.
I think it's so sad. You know, I'm not against a lot of things, but when I see
Yeah, he's not against a lot of things. Except, like, women's bodily autonomy. Especially when there's Tic Tacs around.
these big towers, these big wind towers that are rotting
These big, I'm sorry, what kind of towers? All right. I don't know. This is so stupid.
and rusting, and they make a lot of noise, and they drive down the value of your homes if you happen to be in earshot or sight. And it's very intermittent energy. It's not good.
No, it's
And
intermittent.
they're ruining our fields. They're ruining our oceans. And they're all made in China. And they're all made in Germany.
Oh, okay. They're all made in China and they're all made in Germany? Oh my God, the Germans and the Chinese have linked up.
Germany and China make 100% of those big wind
Right, I'm still wondering who the fuck Alice is too.
towers. So they got to be laughing at us. It's
In German and Chinese.
so sad. You saw what happened in Texas. They froze up. Got a little cold. They froze up. I think Texas.
Wait, yeah, was that, I'm sorry, the windmills or the entirety of the state? I don't know, is Ted Cruz there?
You have a great governor in Texas. I think that Texas should say, no more wind. We've got so much oil and gas, they don't know what to do with it.
Well, apparently, yeah, I guess if they knew what to do with it, we would be able to make, I guess if they don't know, they have so much, I just don't know how we're going to not be energy independent if Texas has so much that they, oh, because they're not part of America, I see.
500 years worth. To all law enforcement, I want you to know that the American people thank you, they believe in you, they love you, they respect you, they need you, and we are going to fight for you.
And by fight for you, we mean beat you with a flag, a blue line, thin blue line flag on a pole anytime you get between us and our political goals. That's what he's talking about, by the way. Just in case. I mean, it's law and order unless you're a Capitol police officer, then sorry. I mean, but you know, Tree of Liberty. What are you going to do? I mean, you got to feed the thing, right?
Law enforcement's been treated very badly, but we love you.
Yeah, we love you. Sorry about the whole trying to gouge your eyes out thing and tasing you till you had a heart attack. But we do love you. It's just, you know, it's an abusive relationship. Have fun.
I just met a lot of them backstage.
You're going to meet a lot more. Some of them even from SDNY.
I'll tell you, these are great people. We're going to elect a Republican Congress to terminate Joe
Why is he doing this? Why is he shaking his dick?
Biden's open border catastrophe, defund his extreme agenda, and give our ICE and Border Patrol the resources, support, and gratitude they so richly deserve. The Socialist Democrats have
Strategy? Nah. We'll just give them more ammo and we'll applaud. But
not only brought chaos and bedlam to the border, they brought every bad thing you can have to this border.
really? Well, then how are people crossing then? I mean, Jason Voorhees is down there. Moats on fire full of alligator and petrol. I mean, if you can, everything bad I can think of.
This border is a disaster.
Well, yeah, I mean, the wall just does not work. Thanks for mentioning it again.
By defunding police, and by the way,
Yeah, come on.
do you hear the new one? It was the Republicans. You know what they do? It's called disinformation. Like Russia, Russia, Russia. Trump was so friendly with Russia. Trump worked for Russia. You know, they say it over and over on the fake news media. Oh, there's a lot of them back there. Ooh. Oh, boy.
There's not a lot of them back there, by the way. I'm just saying for the record, there aren't. Hold on, we got. Oh, these, I swear to God, like the. Yeah, and what he means is propaganda, but. He's giving away the store right now. He's admitting to what he does.
Trump loves Russia. You know, I'm the one that exposed the pipeline. I shut down the pipeline to Europe. I don't think they like me too much. But, you know, they say it over and over. And so now they're getting killed by the defund the police, which they're doing, by the way. But they're getting absolutely killed. So all of a sudden, they said today, I heard, and there's a word, disinformation. It's called if you say it enough and keep saying it, just keep saying it, they'll start to believe you. We can't let that happen.
Well, then stop having rallies then. How is this not exactly what he's doing?
Because now they're saying...
Yes, the Russians are getting killed by defund the police. Please try to keep up, guys. I can't stitch this nonsense together myself.
The Republicans wanted to defund the police.
Well, they're the only ones who voted against it.
I said, you know...
I don't pay attention.
I heard it for the first time. I said, you know, did I hear that wrong? Please play that over again. You know, nowadays we can actually play things over again.
Yeah, really? Can we?
I said, play it over again.
Sam?
It was the Republicans' fault. It is such a disaster what these people do. It's disinformation.
Wait a minute. You can't say, play that back. And then they play it back and you're like, that's not what really happened. This is what happened. And then you explain to people that your party actually are the ones who voted against using COVID funds to help local law enforcement buy more equipment and hire more police officers. And that the only people who voted against it were Republicans. Yeah, I can see it. No, you're right. Move on. Better to move on. Better to move on.
Say it again and again and again. And after months and months of hearing it...
I hope this will work.
And we have no free press anymore. The free press is truly gone. Other than a few sources, it's gone. So
it's not gone.
They get away with this stuff. We cannot let it happen. We have to be much tougher, stronger, and smarter. We have to be.
Well, 0 out of 3 ain't bad.
By defunding police, abolishing cash bail, and releasing tens and tens and tens of thousands of dangerous criminals.
Tens. That'd be hundreds of thousands, right?
Criminals from jail. The radical left is bringing a nightmare of mayhem and lawlessness to every city, every suburb, and every community in America.
Well, that's what equality's all about.
You know, when they come in through these jails, they don't stay there. They go all throughout your beautiful community. That includes Florida and Ohio.
Yeah, that's the Democrats are to blame for Florida man. So, I mean, can we just, because I'm sure he's about this close to saying that that Democrats run cities are the worst and blah, blah, blah. So let's see what Florida man, okay, here's floridaman.com. This is the most recent ones. Let's give it, considering this, there's actually a website called floridaman.com. I didn't find out about this until after I did my song. Let's see, this is April 28th. Florida man tries to smuggle drugs into jail with prosthetic leg. Naked Florida man humps tree, punches deputy. I hope in that order, because it would scare me if he got aroused by punching the deputy and took it out on the tree. Florida man steals ambulance from hospital, drives it into mud. Florida man with state tattooed on head calls 911 for a ride home. Florida man on motorized scooter exposes touches self in front of Walmart shoppers. So he's a greeter. He's just showing up for work. Let's see. Drunken Florida man crashes golf cart, blames Trump. Sure. I guess he took lessons from him. Florida man carrying Pelosi's lectern is arrested. We saw that guy. Drunk Florida man drives lawnmower on highway. Florida man uses $4 million in COVID relief to buy Lamborghini. Blue state shit. Naked Florida man spends 24 hours vandalizing school. Was he naked the whole time? Florida man gets sets hospital bed on fire to get nurses' attention. Well, I'm sure it worked. Shoplifting Florida man flees store, strips naked as steaks fall out of his pants. Naked Florida man bites canine, punches, and spits on deputies. So, but please, just keep in mind, this is what happens in Democrat-run,
Ohio and Iowa and every other state in the union. Joe Biden canceled our program to send federal law enforcement to cities overrun by violent crime. Isn't it interesting to know that every one of those cities is Democrat?
Yeah, you mean the ones with the most people in them and the cities that have the biggest economies and pay the most in taxes towards the rest of the country? Notice the smallest cities with that get more from the federal government to to pay their bills as cities. Those are red run. Those are Republican run cities. I mean, if we're keeping score, and I think we are.
Leaving innocent Americans at the mercy of brutal gangsters and ruthless killers.
And MS-13.
People are afraid to go into those cities.
Are they? I'll be going into one of them tomorrow, and over the fall I will be in a bunch of them. But I'm not afraid. I mean, there are some areas I've been in that I wouldn't call them cities, that are kind of in the middle of BFE, where you're driving through the sticks that can get a little squirrely. You're like, I hope I don't get a flat tire here. This is clearly Michael Jackson Thriller out of gas territory.
Now the murder rate has just seen its largest single-year increase in history.
By percentage, not actual count.
All in Democrat-run cities and areas.
No, not all.
Think of that.
No, not all.
Now, how did they recover from that?
Well, I mean, obviously with the resources that they have from having, the most tax money to draw from.
Look at Chicago, such a great city, and now look at what's happened. Look at New York. The prosecutors never want to talk about anybody that murdered. They don't want to
talk about anybody that murdered?
Talk about anybody that's trafficking in drugs. They're letting the people out by the thousands.
That's terrible. What? Is that the case? Hold on, I need to look something up. Let's see. Drugs and gambling. There's got to be some. Yeah, I mean, this is like some of this stuff. I don't know how New York can even. How do you even call yourself the Big Apple? I don't even know what apple is in Russian. But hey, FBI wiretapped Russian gambling ring headquartered at Trump Tower for 2 years. What? The feds were monitoring Russian activity at Trump Tower, but it was years before President Trump ever ran for office. The FBI had a court-sanctioned warrant from 2011 to 2013 to monitor a Russian crime organization out of a unit 3 floors below Trump's penthouse, according to ABC News report. Listening in on Russian happenings resulted in more than 30 people being indicted in April 2013, with federal agents raiding the Trump Tower apartment. But the mastermind, Alimjan Tokhtakhanov, got away and since has fled the United States justice system. Emergence of the Russian gambling wiretap comes as President Trump claims his own residence at Trump Towers was bugged at the direction of President Obama, but the intelligence community says there's no evidence to back that up. That never stopped him for. Months after the 2013 raid, ABC notes, Tokhtakhanov was in the VIP section of Miss Universe Moscow, not far from President Trump. How did he get tickets to that? He must have known somebody. The president had previously sold the rights to the Russian incarnation of the show to a billionaire developer based in the country. He's a major player, might get a lead agent on the FBI investigation said of Tokhtakhanov. In 2014, he's prominent. He's extremely good connection in the business world as well as the criminal world overseas in Russia, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, and other countries. He's accused of having run a major gambling ring headquartered out of Unit 63A of Trump Tower that saw $50 million worth of illegal money come into the U.S., according to ABC News. He's no stranger to the law's radar. He was previously indicted for trying to fix figure skating competitions in the 2002 Winter Olympics. It's like he's the Russian Tanya Harding. The president wasn't named in the investigation, but his flagship skyscraper was under heavy surveillance. Just a few floors below Trump's home, prosecutors said there was an international money laundering, sports gambling, and extortion ring. Yeah, I mean, these are not. I mean, he doesn't know anything about any of these things. Well, sports gambling, anyways. Yeah. So the crime in New York is, it's for years been a problem.
The bloodshed is beyond belief. This week, a 21-year-old U.S. Marine was hit by a stray bullet in broad daylight while standing in the middle of Times Square. 78 people were shot in Chicago last week alone. Now, just think of that. You know,
Okay, 78 people were shot in Chicago last weekend.
we talk, 78 people, you know, people are sort of thinking about other things. Maybe you're not having a great time. Is everybody having a great time today?
Yeah, especially when you bring up 78 people shot.
Even though the subject is a negative one, eventually this subject will be the most positive one you've ever been involved in, okay?
What? I'm sorry, what?
People are afraid to go into those cities. Now the murder rate has just seen its largest single-year increase
saw
in
this.
history.
I'm backing
All
up.
in
I can't just do a couple of
Democrat-run
10
cities
seconds.
and areas. Think of that. Now, how did they recover from that? Look at Chicago, such a great city, and now look at what's happened. Look at New York. The prosecutors never want to talk about anybody that murdered. They don't want to talk about anybody that's trafficking in drugs. They're letting the people out by the thousands. The bloodshed is beyond belief. This week, a 21-year-old U.S.
Right.
Marine was hit by a stray bullet in broad daylight while standing in the middle of Times Square.
Okay, hold on one second. Let's see. Stray bullet. I'm just going to see if we can compare this. I'll just look up stray bullet Times Square. All right, let's see. 2021. Let's see. 7 days ago. 8 days ago. Let's see. Let's just go. Let's see. 2021. Tours of Kansas. 2021. 8 days ago. We'll try this. Right? Whoops. Hold on. 7. Let's see. That's the U.S. Marine story. Okay, found that one. And then, man, as soon as he gunfire was wounding terrorists, that's 8 days ago, 7 days ago, 8 days ago. Let's see. Let's try it back even further. Times Square. Yeah, I gotta find a better way to search for it. Let's see. Times Square crime 2019. Let's just see what that is. Well, that's not good. New York City crime spree surges continue. Shootings up 166% in August. Oh, wait a minute. September 2nd, 2020. I forget who was president in 2020. We'll have to look that up later. New York City ends 2020 with 97% leap in shootings, 45% jump in what? This is... Biden is such a bad president. His policies were even causing crime last year when Trump was president. 45% leap. Criminal carnage not seen in 14 years. That's violence in 2020. That's 97%. That's when Trump was president, right? I think so. Pretty sure. But I mean, look at New York. Jeez. Remember when crime was just gambling, prostitution, extortion in Trump Tower?
78 people were shot in Chicago last week alone. Now, just think of that. You know.
Okay, let's see. 2020 weekend violence Chicago. We'll just look that up. 2020. Let's do a good comparison. This is almost the same time. It's about a month different a year ago. Chicago weekend shootings. This is June 1st, 2020. Chicago weekend shootings. 85 shot, 24 fatally. So they're down, technically, a year later. More than half the weekend's victims were shot on Sunday as the city reeled from violent protests Saturday night, led to hundreds of arrests, implementation of a curfew. 85 shot, 24 fatally. Now think of it. Think of this. Think of the whole. Think of it. Think it.
We talk, 78 people. You know, people are sort of thinking about other things. Maybe you're not having a great time. Is everybody having a great time today? Even though the subject is a negative one, eventually this subject will be the most positive one you've ever been involved in, okay?
No, not okay. I don't know what the shit that sentence means. Even though the subject is a negative one, eventually be the most positive one you've ever been involved in? What the hell?
Now, these rallies are incredible. They all want the sir, when are you bringing back the rallies? And I'm so glad this is one of our great early rallies. And this area is
Oh, yeah.
so great.
This area is so great. It's so great. This is one of the best audiences we've had in Sarasota this week.
We won Florida by a lot. We won Florida by a lot.
By a lot. Yeah, in Jonestown, they used to do this for pineapple.
So, you know, I live in Florida. I'm a citizen of Florida. Listen to this.
Well, you had to move, obviously. You're going to have to move your business down there, too, because you're going to lose your license in New York State.
When I was down here, thank you very much, but I turned on television.
By the way, he doesn't have the right to live at Mar-a-Lago and registered to vote using an address that he didn't even live at. He and Mike Pence both committed voter fraud in the last election. So, proof of voter fraud. Congrats.
Commercial after commercial after commercial. I think they spent $240 million in Florida. One lightweight put up $100 million of negative ads. I don't know, he was jealous because he did so poorly in a debate. Something happened. Put up $100 million. They spent hundreds of millions. I turn on, every commercial was a kill. I called my people. I said, how the hell can I win Florida?
Like, we've got it rigged. Don't worry.
I said, sir, you're
ES&S
gonna win a
machines.
landslide, and that's what happened.
Is that what they said? So you're going to win in a landslide? That's what they told you?
That's what happened. It's pretty amazing.
I think he means Bloomberg. I want to say Bloomberg.
Because ultimately, the people are really smart. They don't get enough credit.
No, they don't. I mean, they do get enough credit if you go to floridaman.com.
If you want law and order and justice, you have only one
Longhorn Justice?
choice. You must vote Republican or MAGA. MAGA, we love MAGA.
MAGA.
Make America great again. Vote
Oh, that's what it means.
Republican. We have some good ones, right? America first, save America. But there's something about MAGA. Just keeps coming back, right? MAGA. MAGA country. Even while the Democrat extremists let murderers, rapists, drug dealers, and dangerous criminals
Set up shop in Trump Towers.
run wild in Democrat cities,
Well, I mean, obviously New York is a Democrat city. Of course, they seem to run wild in your buildings, though. I'm kidding. They don't run wild in his buildings. They just live there.
they're corrupting and weaponizing the law against their political opponents.
Oh, now we're getting to it. Oh, this is what they do. They're doing this to me, clearly. Is this, all right, hold on one second, I gotta play.
Oh, gee, I'm so surprised. Radical left New York City and state prosecutors who have allowed crime to skyrocket to, we have never seen anything like what's happened. Record levels, record murders up a percentage that's not even possible.
Oh, so you're just making it up. I see.
And outrageously and shamefully continuing the greatest witch hunt. That's what they do. They go and target me. I've been targeted since I came down the escalator. Do you remember Mueller? The 18 angry Democrats, remember that?
Yeah. I also remember that Rod Rosenstein ran interference and didn't let them look at your finances, which would have proved motive for the charges. And then, of course, Barr insisting that you can't be indicted anyways because you're a sitting president. So they basically had Mueller from both directions. And still, the Mueller investigation put a bunch of people in jail. You ended up having to pardon them. He never said there was no collusion, and they made money on the deal.
They had more resources. They spent $48 million, and in the end, they
made 52.
said there was no collusion. I couldn't believe they came up with that.
They didn't.
A friend of mine said, you have to be the cleanest guy in history.
Seriously. No one has ever said that to him.
Think of it. 2.5 years, 48 million, the Mueller report, no collusion. This is the kind of persecution that they're doing, as an example, in New York, and they're doing it all over.
Yeah, everywhere, you know.
That you would see
Can't go anywhere.
in a third world nation. This isn't for us. It's reminiscent of a communist dictatorship targeting your political opponents for, really, it is, think of it.
I'm thinking that your teleprompter took a shit or you lost your place, and so you're breaking away from it. That's what I'm thinking.
Prosecution, they prosecute people, good people, fabulous people.
By the way, is someone setting off fireworks, or are they having the tribunals over in the corner and someone's doing a gavel?
People that love our country, honest people, fabricating charges to try and silence them, abusing the justice system and leaking out information on a daily basis.
Yeah, all true information, by the way, because you can't leak a lie.
The press. To engage in flagrant character assassination. Every day I pick up the paper. Hey, what did they leak out today?
Do you hold them? Who holds a newspaper up to their ear? They what? I every day I pick up my newspaper and I go, "Hello, newspaper. Are you hello? Did someone hang up? Hello, newspaper. Tell me what they leaked about me today."
It's unprecedented.
None of them know what he's talking about.
Unprecedented, unheard of, and totally unacceptable in America for prosecutors to run for office on a promise to get their political enemies. How about the one, New York State? We're going to get Trump. I'm running. She's running. I'm going to get Trump. I promise her. Knows nothing about me. All she knows, she's going to get me.
Well, obviously, she's aware. She's seen a lot of the evidence because of her position. She just has to go through they have to lock down all the evidence, set up a grand jury, go through the process. But anybody it's again the old, everybody's biased against Trump as soon as they see the evidence.
From the day she got in, I'm going to get Trump. But the people are wise to it. They people get it.
They people get it.
Get Trump. Vote for me. I don't know a damn thing about him, but I'm going to get him. But even if they've committed no crimes, no problems, it's a fascist.
Oh, this is my headphones wire. Sorry, this what this little dangly thing is. I apologize. It's because there was there was an issue with the headphones, the wireless.
And authoritarian, and the people who talk about democracy are literally destroying it before our very eyes. Nobody can believe the things that we're witnessing, so many things.
You're like what?
After hundreds of subpoenas.
Jesus.
And that includes Mueller and all of the Congress where I have been, think of it.
Okay.
Probably no president has done more than we have.
We have.
Trump administration, including you.
Including you. Yes, it's a taser cable. I just like it.
With the military, with the lowest taxes, the biggest tax cut ever, with
not true.
The biggest regulation cuts.
Not true.
We built Space Force, so.
Sorry, one moment.
Captain's log.
So many things.
Yeah.
By the way, we developed a vaccine in 9 months instead of 5 years, okay? Which everybody's big deal. Lots of big.
Yeah, notice the lack of clapping by a bunch of these folks. Look at this lady right here who's looking. I'm not taking that shit.
Deals, but just think of it. We did all of this and constantly under investigation by the radical left. From day one, from the day I came down the escalator with your great and beautiful future First Lady.
Future First Lady.
Right from that day.
Yeah, you can't say former, and you gotta say present, but she's, all right.
They do love our First Lady, I will say. She's great. She is great, and she loves you, and she says hello. After
Does she?
over 3 million
Did she say fuck Christmas too? Just once? Can she say it for us? Can she come up to the microphone and just say it?
pages of documents. Think of that. 3 million pages. Great company. Big company. Great company. They don't give you credit for that. I used to get a lot of credit. I get
Well, that's because nobody really looked that hard. You got a lot of credit for being a billionaire before people went, oh shit, he's not a billionaire. You know what I mean?
credit from the people that know. 4 years of searching, dozens and dozens of interviews, and millions of dollars spent of taxpayer funds, all wasted. The radical left continues to search for a crime and wreck lives, break laws, violate every principle of justice, fairness, and liberty. You see it. You see it on a constant basis. Mm-hmm. It's really called prosecutorial misconduct. It's a terrible,
well, then file charges against him for it.
Terrible thing. There's no depth to which the radical left will not sink to stop our Make America Great Again movement. Think of it.
Think of it. Think of this. Think of that. Think of it. Think about this. I'm going to put a thought in your head. Think of it. I'm going to tell you to think of it. And then I'm going to say something and I want you to think of it because that's how idiot hypnosis works.
New York prosecutors did not go after a single financial firm after the 2008 financial crisis caused by all of those firms.
That's because, unfortunately, everything they did was legal.
Which devastated and almost destroyed our country.
Right. That's why prosecutors weren't who you would send after those folks. You would change the, what's the word? Regulations around the banking industry to create firewalls between the organizations that were in these, I guess, so you stop the credit default swaps. But yeah.
No one was ever held accountable. No one. They did not go after Hunter Biden or his father.
For what?
For major crimes.
Because they didn't commit any.
You know, Joe was totally in on it.
In on what?
Look, you know, Joe said, I didn't know anything about it. A report came out today in the New York Post, and actually by some great reporters.
By the way, today it came out in the New York Post. He said this at the other rally, which was a week ago.
The New York Post has done an incredible job. But where Joe Biden knew everything. He knew everything. Hunter Biden, what they did with money pouring in from Russia, from Ukraine, from China. They didn't go after Hillary Clinton and her foundation. They didn't touch her.
For what?
They leave Democrats alone no matter how bad they are.
Well, say how bad they are. Tell us what's wrong. Other than the fact that you're jealous that Hunter Biden made money, I don't know wherein the legality line is. We could see where the legality line is with you and Weisselberg and all that fun stuff. It would help. All right, never mind.
But they've mobilized every power of government.
Not every power, clearly. I mean, don't we have space rays?
To come
not the Jewish space lasers, the DARPA stuff.
After me, my family, my wonderful employees, and my company solely because of politics. They want to do things to hurt us. We're too smart, we're too good. I think we're too good, and we're too united. Because remember...
Yeah, meaning we've got our story straight.
Remember this.
Uh-huh.
The Democrats have horrible policy. Think of it. Open borders, sanctuary cities. I mean, the policies are so... Defund the police, it's their policy. Remember, don't let them talk anybody out of that.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry that your talking point is dying, but all right, there'll be more of these.
But they have horrible policy, but they stick together. They're very vicious people, far more vicious than Republicans. I don't know why.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it. That's very sweet.
I wish I could say that we would fight back the way they fight.
Well, you can't, just because you're weak. And you look for a sycophantic leader, regardless of his capabilities or his intellect or his, leadership skills. You just kind of follow any kind of rich, dopey fraud you can find. Whereas, obviously we as Democrats, we're all serpents who live off of baby spine juice. So we don't really need to follow a leader. We kind of it's a hive mind kind of a thing. We're like xenomorphs in Alien.
But they do have one thing that's good. They stick together. You don't have Mitt
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's because, I mean, I got to admit, I'm a little sticky sometimes.
Romney and Little Ben Sass and these people. You don't have these people.
Little Ben Sass?
They stick together, and I respect that. The harder I fight for you, the harder they come after me. Crime is rampant on our streets of these cities. And these prosecutors refuse to prosecute even for murder, deadly assault, robbery, drug, and human trafficking.
That's not true.
They refuse to prosecute. The only one they want to prosecute is me or Republicans. How many of the Congress people are under investigation?
Not what you want to point out. Matt Gaetz is there.
They're letting thousands and thousands of criminals out of jail. You saw it was just announced. They're letting all these people. Many of them
murderers and rapists, and but we're doing that. Are we just lapping? Is his teleprompter on a loop?
Look at the people they're letting, and these people are going on the streets.
They're going on the streets? Do we have a public defecation problem?
There's no cash bail, there's no justice, and the people are afraid to go to our Democrat-run cities.
That was already in the. You already said that part.
I don't like going. They're afraid to go. Who the hell wants to go? And yet they go after.
And yet, the cities are full of millions of people.
After good, hard-working people for not paying taxes on a company car.
No. I mean, obviously, unless it was a $1.7 million car.
Company car. You didn't pay tax on the car or a company apartment. You used an apartment because you need an apartment.
Used?
Because you have to travel too far where your house says you didn't pay tax. Or education for your grandchildren. I don't even know. Do you have to? But does anybody know the answer to that stuff?
Well, there might be one person. That would be the accountant or comptroller or the chief financial officer of any given company. Let's just say the Chump organization. I'll make one up. The person who runs does the books and arrange that person, you might want to talk to them. But I understand you have to do it in the presence of a witness right now, but they should know. Technically, they should know.
Okay? But they indict people for that. But for murder and for selling massive amounts of the worst drugs in the world.
Yeah, he's still got. I would like to see the manager. This European Sudafed did not fuck me up at all.
That kill people left and right.
Fentanyl? Who is not charging people or indicting them for fentanyl trafficking?
That's okay.
Right now they're going after Purdue Pharmaceuticals and the Sackler family.
Think of it. Think of how...
Yes, that's true. Excellent point, by the way. Trump also said repeatedly he knows more about taxes and how the tax system works than CPAs do or anybody at the IRS. So, obviously, who knows? I mean, who knows?
Unfair it is. Never before has New York City and their prosecutors, or perhaps any prosecutors, criminally charged a company or a person for fringe benefits.
For fringe benefits.
Fringe benefits.
Fringe benefits. Fridge benefits, which is, of course, the ability to put a magnet on the front and it stays there. This brushed aluminum stuff drives me crazy.
Murder's okay. Human trafficking, no problem. But fringe benefits, you can't do that.
Well, you do know that there are different organizations within law enforcement that go after different crimes, right? They're not pulling anybody off of Times Square anti-murder squad to go work on financial crimes. Hey, Tompkins, how are you with corporate tax law? Oh, I don't know, fair to middling. Yeah, okay, put down your M16, take off your SWAT gear, go upstairs, 3rd floor.
Every abuse, and by the way, every company and who the hell, people don't even know. They don't even know. Every abuse.
They don't know. They don't know. I don't know. Do you know? Who knows?
An attack they throw my way is solely because I have been fighting for you against the corrupt establishment.
That's right. All his life, he's been fighting to stop the corrupt establishment from stopping you from watching him grab a woman between her legs and snort crushed Sudafed from Europe because it actually contains the same materials you would need to make meth.
That's all it is.
That's all it is. Memphis. Hype train. Thanks, everybody.
I mean, you know how many investigations? They've all seen this. Mueller, he spent $48 million. He saw it. They all saw it. Many people, they saw it. But this last group, the radical left, they said, listen, we failed in Washington to get him. Here's the papers. See if you can take him out, New York. Radical left New York. It's because I have
Radical left New York.
called for their...
Jesus.
And I called them out on the lies and exposed their incompetence and taken away their power. And perhaps most importantly, it's because I got 75 million votes. And by the way...
Yeah, and Biden got 81. So, yeah. I mean, obviously... There's a potential for some kind of fraud that could have happened. I mean, I think we should look into Ohio, Florida, Kentucky, and Texas. Just because the polls were way off, I think that's a good opportunity to...
And by the way, it's probably a lot more than that. But that's by far the most of any sitting president in history.
So, absentee... and early voting and mail-in voting is actually a good thing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peter. Are they saying fraud or Trump? It doesn't matter.
But that's by far the most of any sitting president in the history of our country.
And and interestingly enough, with no excuse absentee voting and mail-in voting, how much did Biden beat you by? The most in history of any candidate.
Far more than Obama, far more than anybody.
Except...
And again, how many more would we have gotten with fair elections? How many?
Well, you would have lost some, probably. Just statistically speaking, in certain states. Allegedly.
I can tell you, I think many millions and millions, but a lot of things are happening. Watch, just stay tuned.
Yeah. Keep watching, please. I'm looking. By the way, they're announcing the dates for the Mike Lindell Symposium. Oh boy.
I want to thank.
By the way, don't forget to subscribe on Twitch at fwank.com, FWANQ, fwank.com.
So many of the states, you look at what's going on in some of the states, it's incredible what they're doing because they get it.
Four-finger curl, Trump's lying about the legitimacy of the 75 million votes. Yeah, he does that whole thing. This, like, I'm BSing
and I'm far more popular now than on election day. Because
yes, people are glad that you're not in the White House.
The people have watched what the hell has happened to our country in just a very short period of time.
Yeah, we've added like 3 million jobs.
What they are doing is a disgrace to our nation. It's really an atrocious abuse of power. Nobody's ever seen anything like this. And the American people will not stand for it. I know that.
What are they going to do? Oh, you mean the next election?
Now, we're thrilled to be joined tonight by many outstanding Republican leaders. And they're really friends of mine, and they're warriors. And there are a few here that I'm not going to introduce because they're not warriors. So,
Jesus.
The hell with them. Who cares? They're not warriors.
By the way, I support this 100%.
They're not warriors.
They're not. They suck. They're right over there. Him, her.
But these people are incredible, and these...
Well, not those people, obviously.
Are the kind of people we need, and these are the people that made our country great. These are the people with...
Yeah, Matt Gaetz is the Thomas Jefferson of Devin Nunes's.
The attitudes, this is what made our country
Yeah, we can definitely fast forward this part.
Great, and they are amazing. Representative Greg Steube.
Okay, we don't... he's not bringing these dickheads up, is he?
Can you believe that? 48,000 jobs. And then we got hit. And we had to do it again, and we did it twice.
Jesus Christ, this is the same shit.
We did it twice. During the pandemic, we produced 3 vaccines in record time. And remember, 3 to 5 years, they said. And
That's about how long it will take for any of these people to actually take
they
it,
said, but
if they live.
it probably won't happen. I got it done in less than 9 months. What a difference. What a difference. And you have to have your freedom as to taking it and all of that, but what a difference. What a great thing. And that's for the world. Had we not had that, we wouldn't all be here tonight. We wouldn't be here. It would be a whole different world.
Yeah, what would it be like? Because none of these, because she's not buying it. Hold on, let me scoot this down so you can see some of these folks. Yeah? Yeah,
And I'm talking
are these folks, you see the look on those folks' faces? This dude, like he's totally committed to the vaccine. This guy right here?
world, not just the United States. What we saved, I think we would have had another 1917 Spanish flu. That's what I believe. We're close to 100 million people, they say, died.
They say, I don't know though. I call bullshit. Probably not. They say, you know, but can you trust anybody? Or the red lights are going off.
But while Joe Biden now wants credit for all of our successes, do you remember during the inauguration, he said he created the vaccine? I said, no, Joe, we gave you the vaccine on December 11th. Remember, we put it into your arm to keep you safe, Joe.
We?
His radical agenda and far-left policies have already begun to destroy our country.
Yeah, it was a pretty weak country, apparently, according to these guys. Am I the only person who's bugged by this constant shitting on America? Like in 4 months, the whole thing can just fall apart because why? Because some college professors teaching critical race theory 20 years ago, and then a spike in violent crime after lockdown, which just brings us up to the number that it was before lockdown. Anywhere in this, but the country's just gone. There's nothing, right? There's just, it can't survive this. World War II, we got you. We made it through the Civil Rights era, you know, dogs and water hoses and the Civil War, obviously, but we can't, if we survived that, we got better, we improved, but I mean, 4 months of, maybe we should add frontline healthcare workers to a rescue package.
Biden canceled the American Keystone XL pipeline.
You mean the Canadian Keystone XL pipeline?
And can you believe that? 48,000.
No, I don't believe it, because it's not American. I'm crushing you.
And he approved the Russian pipeline to Europe. It's not even. And they say Trump wasn't tough on Russia. Really? I stopped their pipeline. The single greatest source of income for Russia was their pipeline. I stopped it, and this guy immediately let it go through. So what's that all about? Trump wasn't tough on Russia. And I actually had and have a very good relationship with President Putin.
We know.
But that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. That's actually a very good thing.
Well, now it's not, obviously. I mean, when you're president, there might be an argument for where you at least can have a conversation with somebody like that. But once you're out of office, why the fuck would you ever want to be around or hang out with or say you're friends with that dude ever again? Oh, money, right.
Until the plague came
and PPT.
in, I had a very good relationship with President Xi of China.
Well, no, it was in the country and spreading through the country, and you were still kissing his ass.
And I have a very good relationship with Kim Jong-un. And isn't it nice that
no,
you can actually have those relationships? And you know what? And with the European leaders, even though they knew I wasn't going to take their nonsense, because they rip us off at a level that you've never seen before, outside of China and a couple of others.
Yeah, I mean, it's the top. It's the worst, except for some other people that aren't, but it doesn't matter.
Biden re-entered the job-killing Paris Climate Accord, okay? That's going to cost us $1 trillion, and you have to close a lot of factories. It was a big mistake.
And you can't, now you got ahead of yourself. You can't do the windmill jokes.
To do it. China doesn't kick into that deal for many, many years. Russia kicks in at the lowest level. And we're going to pay trillions of dollars for that, lose lots of business. It's a disaster.
Yeah, they're all going to move to Russia.
One thing that happened, the World Health Organization. So when I pulled out of that because they blew every conceivable thing having to do, they said, keep your country open, I closed it. Don't forget, people said, why didn't you fire Fauci? I said, I didn't have to. I always did the opposite of what he said, so why should I fire him? He said, keep the country open. And I had a good relationship with him. Honestly, I had a pretty good relationship. He said, just call me Tony, sir. I call him, just call me Tony. He said, sir, just call me Tony. He's a
By the way, 600,000 dead.
hell of a promoter, though. Don't you agree? Remember, no masks. Masks are terrible. Don't wear masks. And now he's a radical masker.
Yes? Hello? Oh, somebody said this.
3 masks, and if you can, put on goggles and a helmet. Different kind of a deal. But Biden's pushing now the largest tax hike in history. I gave you the largest tax decrease in the history of our country.
Okay, so basically back to where it was then?
That's what I mean about their policies. How the hell can open borders, tax increases, all of these things, sanctuary cities, all of the crap they want to teach our kids in school, how can that be good? You know what? If they had good policy, I think they'd be hard to beat, but their policy is so bad.
And yet they kicked your ass. How weird is that?
So radical, and it's so sick that they really aren't going to do well, and I think we're going to have, it's already less than a year and a half away. Can you believe that? We're going to show them. We're going to show them.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
We have great people like these people, and we're going to show them. Joe Biden.
Not these people, but people like these people.
Biden's infrastructure plan would annihilate America's suburbs by abolishing single-family home zoning here in Florida and nationwide. And the reason they mention that is because I wrote all of that stuff off. You know that. I used to campaign on the suburbs. Then they say, how did Trump do with women in the suburbs? I think I did very well. I think. A great pollster, John McLaughlin.
Oh my God.
I got 63 million votes.
And he says all you're going to need is 65. You're going to be in there.
If you get 64 or 65, the election is over. You win.
And they went, okay, how do I buy those votes then? ES&S machines, get that guy on the phone.
Most presidents go down in the second term when they run. Obama went way down. He won the second time. His competition was Romney. Who the hell is he going to beat Romney? In one of the worst campaigns in history. It was an embarrassment. But he beat Romney, but he went down. He got fewer votes.
Obviously, Romney lost, but he wasn't in office when he lost. So there's that.
And they go, this is John, great pollster. He goes, sir, I will tell you, if you can get 64 million or 65 million, there is no way you can lose the election. I got 75 million, and they said, you lost. The USA Today.
They didn't say it because you got 75 million. They said it because you actually did. Oh, hi. Does Joe Biden want to abolish the suburbs? No. Des Moines, a St. Louis lawyer featured during the Republican National Convention falsely claimed the Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and his party want to abolish the suburbs altogether by ending single-family home zoning. Biden does not propose banishing single-family homes, nor would he get rid of the suburbs. The accusation that he would came Monday night from Patricia McCloskey. Oh, the McCloskeys, right. That's a false account of what Biden supports. In 2015, during the Obama administration, regulation took effect intended to ensure that communities confront racial segregation in housing. The rule put in place to strengthen the enforcement of the landmark Fair Housing Act of '68 for the first time, requiring more than 1,200 jurisdictions receiving federal housing and urban development block grants in housing to analyze their housing stock and come up with plans to combat patterns of segregation and discrimination. The rule did not eliminate zoning for single-family homes in the suburbs. Trump administration suspended full implementation of the rule in 2018 and withdrew data tool designed to help cities analyze their housing, arguing it was too costly and burdensome. Then last month, Trump revoked the rule and tweeted to the suburban housewives of America that Biden will destroy your neighborhood and your American dream. He made what fair housing advocates consider a racist argument, playing on unfounded fears that low-income apartments would be forced into affluent neighborhoods. Joe Biden and the radical left want to abolish police, abolish ICE, abolish bail, abolish suburbs, abolish the Second Amendment, and abolish the American way of life. No one will be safe in Joe Biden's America. Okay. That's just so we're clear where that nonsense comes from.
Explained Biden's deranged socialist scheme with, quote, a house with a white picket fence And a big backyard for the 4th of July barbecue celebration may be a staple of the American dream, but experts and local politicians say multifamily zoning is the key to combating climate change, always climate change. And remember this, climate change, you only have 9 years left, right? Remember where AOC got up? We have 12 years. Well, we might have problems. We better be careful about nuclear and but you're not going to worry about it. You're just going to do everything right. You'll be fine. But we have, because of climate change, 12 years to live. We're down to now 9. Is anybody nervous about it? Somehow I'm not.
What? This is like listening to him talk about, like, fatty foods and salt.
I'm not. But racial injustice and nation's growing housing crisis, and that was the quote. In other words, if Biden and the radical Democrats get their way, you can kiss your suburbs, your 4th of July, your barbecue, and you can kiss the American dream goodbye.
He's just quoting from literally campaign stuff last year.
You know that.
No.
And by the way, when we draw crowds, look, there's not even an election. Now, we are looking at the election, but more than looking at it. But you know what? There's not even an election. But if we come out to Florida, or a few days ago, like Ohio or wherever we go, we have tens of thousands of people show up. That means you're damn unhappy and you're looking for hope. You're looking for hope.
Yeah. In a state with millions of people in it and people driving in from other states, you can scrounge up, 25,000 people almost anywhere in the country, especially if it's the same 25,000 people deadheading all over the country for you.
And you're right, because they're going to destroy our country. The left is...
When? I honestly, because they're on the clock. They're not doing a very good job of destroying the country
Democrats
right
truly seem to hate our country.
Really?
And really despise our way of life. And it's hard to believe that they can.
Well, our way of life or the American way of life? Because our would mean your, and your would mean, grab them by the...
You think about it. We want good education. We want a strong military. We want borders. We want all the different things. We want to have...
We want to be able to tase cops till they have a heart attack if they don't do what we say. We want to be able to change the vote after the fact if we lose.
Income. We want so many basic things. It's so easy. Space Force is wonderful. They didn't want to have Space Force. All of these things, it's so basic. I actually call it the party of common sense. Somebody said, are you a very strong conservative? I said, I guess so, but I'm really a person that believes in common sense. I don't want to have the open borders.
Is Rudy going to sue him for using his phrase?
I don't want to have open borders.
Yeah, nobody does.
I want to have sanctuary cities that are protecting criminals, murderers, all sorts of people.
Well, they're not.
I don't want to have that. I want to have great education. I want to have a powerful military. I want to have powerful and wonderful law enforcement. They don't. They wanted to fund the police.
Well, then why did only Republicans vote against funding local law enforcement using leftover COVID funds?
And Joe Biden is perhaps the most unpatriotic president in American history in that sense. He canceled the 4th of July fireworks display at Mount Rushmore.
For fire reasons?
Well, think of it,
Did Biden officially cancel it? I thought they had it. Didn't they have it? Right? Hold on. I need to, I got that. Okay. If it's officially, Biden cancels 4th fireworks. Whoops. Quit it. Not now. Quit it. Biden, there it is. Cancels 4th fireworks, Mount Rushmore. Whoops. I can type. Let's see. The Sun. Kristi Noem knocks Biden administration from denying 4th. Yeah. So denying them. She didn't cancel them. They didn't have them in existence. This was last year. It was an anomaly, so they had it. Kristi Noem knocks Biden administration from Mount Rushmore for denying July 4th fireworks. South Dakota governor took a dig at the Biden administration for rejecting a plan to host so they rejected the plan. They didn't cancel them. Okay. Display in Mount Rushmore this year. It's a beautiful day. I really wish they would be able to have fireworks here this year. Probably not going to happen because of the Biden administration, but look at the powerful, wonderful people still enjoying this monument to history. Okay. Let's see. Mount Rushmore, 4th fireworks. Let's see. That's 2025 to get. Independence Day. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. So Biden canceled them. No 4th of July fireworks at Mount Rushmore. Judge rules. Federal judge ruled that there will be no 4th of July fireworks at Mount Rushmore this year. Judge Robert Lang stated Wednesday in his ruling that while fireworks on July 3rd at first blush seems like a good idea, the court is not called upon to determine whether such a fireworks display is a good idea. Again, Joe Biden's administration of a cancellation of fireworks celebration. South Dakota no one launches legal strategy to take on Biden. None of that has to do with saving her own constituents from COVID, but okay.
Christie.
Yeah, it's fire season.
Great governor. She came to me.
What's her last name? Governor Noem?
Christie Noem. She came to me, sir. For many, many years, we haven't been able to do fireworks at Mount Rushmore. I said, why? They said,
why? Because fire?
They say it's the environment, and they say it's dangerous. I say, really? Is there anything that's going to catch a fire? No, sir. I said, yeah, it's all stone, right? Stone.
Yeah, the whole thing's stone. You've seen it. It's surrounded by trees and brush and grass and, yeah.
It's not going to burn. And I approved it 3 years
Well, yeah, we're not worried about Mount Rushmore catching fire.
ago. They had some of the most beautiful. There's almost nothing we can do in Sarasota to top it. If this fireworks company does anything close, I'll be very impressed, okay? But we had fireworks at Mount Rushmore that was so incredible. And it's all stone. It's stone. And it was wonderful. And then I saw the other day that they refused to allow it to happen again. I think they do it in spite. It's so
that's why.
Ridiculous. It's so sad. The left wants
to spite arsonists with their pants around their ankles?
To cancel the heroes on Mount Rushmore. They actually want to take Mount Rushmore. You've heard this. I mean, nobody's surprised. They want to take down the Jefferson Memorial. They probably don't want to take it down. They want to take the statue of Thomas Jefferson out and replace it with somebody. By the way, let me tell you, you're not going to be happy with the person they want to replace him
with.
Who? Ladies and gentlemen, Thomas Jefferson is being removed from the Jefferson Memorial and being replaced with the Reverend Al Sharpton. I don't think so.
They actually believe him. Like that, the guy over there with no mustache, the Amish maggot, that guy knows it's a joke. The rest of them are like, no way.
No.
Oh, thank you.
Well, nobody would have a problem with that.
Thank you, Robin.
No, I could name plenty that they want to replace. Not good. It's not good. Not good. Acceptable. Not acceptable. We stopped that. That was going to. They were heading that way, and I signed the bill. If you touch it, you go to jail for 10 years. And everyone turned around and they went back home.
You mean the thing that was already the law?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Thomas Jefferson Memorial is now going to be replaced by Joe Biden. President Biden is going to replace. You know, one thing I'll say, he made the State of the Union thing, and honestly, it was sad. It was sad. And I felt badly for him. I do, because I want what's good for.
By the way, lots of people in the chat today. Hi, everybody. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and a like. Hello. Thanks. And I appreciate the super chats, by the way. Let me see. The viewer activity thing on YouTube should give me that. Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Francie. Saw that, just wanted to say. Thank you for the super chats, greatly appreciated. Don't forget, that's a great way to help the show, patreon.com. And don't forget to subscribe. That's kind of, that's top tier. If you can't donate to the show or give anything via super chats or bits or any of that kind of stuff, which is what keeps us on the air, then at least subscribe. That would help immensely. Yeah.
For the country. But this was a very sad situation, and Nancy was behind him. She had the single biggest mask I've ever seen on a human being. This mask went from her hair all the way down to here. The biggest mask I've ever seen, and he...
That one, let's see. Because Biden didn't give a full State of the Union. He just gave hold on. Biden. So let's see. This is this is the mask he's talking about. The one that's blue and just comes past her jawline. She's not a big lady, so I don't know, one that's particularly large in this, right? I mean, she's little, so might be contrast. But okay, helmet, she might as well be wearing it all over her head, right? It's a Muslim reference. Anyway.
He was making it. He had a hard time with the speech. He was stumbling a lot.
Was he? You're doing great, though.
A lot of bad things were happening.
Yeah, it's terrible. A lot of bad things are happening. Sometimes when people say stuff,
Michigan gave us Motang.
and it's just like, you know,
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
if
Yosemites.
there's lots that can happen in a speech.
Wildlife refuges. I mean, you look at this, you look at what we do with our wildlife.
There's a lot that can go wrong when you're giving a speech.
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen. Happening with that speech, and I said, that's really sad. And then I turned on MSDNC and CNN. I just wanted to see what they
What the real networks say?
thought. And they go, this was one of the truly great speeches of our time. FDR, a lot of people here might not like FDR, but he was a great, elegant speaker, right? The only thing you have to fear is fear itself. Right, remember how beautiful the words were, so beautiful.
Yeah, the words. I mean, the meaning sucks, obviously, and Republicans hate it.
The voice was so beautiful. The brain actually worked well. It was a good brain.
It was a good brain. Yeah.
That's better than a brick because you can't throw a brick. It's too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them on CNN said, this very much compares to the late, great FDR. They said that. And that's why their credibility has gone down the tubes. They were comparing his speech, which was sad. It was sad. They were comparing it to FDR. No, that doesn't work. But their credibility is at an all-time low. The media, the fake news media, is at an all... Did I have anything to do with that? I think so. I think it's one of my greatest achievements. I think one of my greatest achievements is explaining to people that the media in this country is corrupt, and it's corrupt.
Well, obviously that's what Russia paid you to do initially. That was the primary goal.
Gonna go down as one of my greatest achievements.
Yeah, only, I would say. And it's not really an achievement, it's a temporary thing. It'll be a footnote in history. Congratulations, you're an asterisk.
Camera just went off. 2 cameras just went off. They don't like it when I do that. I like to give them warning so they could just go to a commercial or something.
Yeah, they're not covering it. This is RSBN's feed, and there's a couple of, Newsmax is there. None of them, the funny thing is he's always like, hey, look at the fake news media back there, and they're booing OAN, Newsmax, Fox, and RSBN. The rest of them are like, we'll take a piece of the feed and we'll buy the footage later. We don't need it.
Biden canceled my 1776 commission to honor America's founding. Within hours of taking office, almost immediately, great people were put on that commission, great patriots.
And they all got what? White House laminates?
He canceled the National Garden of American Heroes, who was going to the great state of Tennessee. And he announced 1 year ago tonight to celebrate. This was announced.
Wait, the big garden of statues he was going to build, that really weird thing, that was going to be, I thought that was going to be in D.C.
About a year ago, was going to Tennessee. We were going to build beautiful, magnificent statues to the greatest people in the history of our country.
Then do it.
He canceled it. Why? Why would you do that?
Because why is the federal government paying for a national monument like a cemetery In the middle of fucking Tennessee. Where? What kind of bullshit Marsha Blackburn pork payment is this?
That was going to Tennessee.
Why Tennessee?
The Biden White House publicly took the side
They're publicly taking it.
of the Olympic athlete who denounced the national anthem and who shunned our great flag. And in place of old-fashioned love of America, the Biden administration has new rules pushing hateful Marxist critical race theory
Crickle race theory.
into our children's schools and into our military. The poisonous left-wing doc is flagrant
Poisonous left-wing doc.
racism. It's plain and simple. It's pure, plain racism. It has no place in our schools, in our military.
You're right. It has no place in our schools and our military. This is why it's not in our schools or our military. What you're bitching about is regular diversity training, where it exists.
Or in our country. When we take back Congress, Republicans must defund immediately critical race theory in our military.
Well, it's not funded.
And refuse to pass any spending bill that does not stop these mind trainings and restore order to our borders. With Joe Biden and the radical left, it is always
Jesus.
America last. It's America last. Look at what he's doing. It's America last. Other countries are laughing at us.
Are they? Are they really? Hold on one second. Let me make sure. I need to check and see this too. Let's see. So what is so funny? Let's see. Well, I mean, if you listen to lefties, obviously, if you're looking at it like this is, well, that's not good. Let's see. It's as good as it gets for the U.S. economy. Let's see. Fewer working age people, slow U.S. economy will lift pay. U.S. economy at a glance. Let's see. Here's Q3. There's Q4. There's Q1. It's going on its way up. This was, Trump's business is the beginning of 21. Quarter one of 21. 6.4% growth in 2021. So for 4.3% growth, still holding in there. There you go. Personal income. Let's see. It's a month-to-month change in personal income. March it went way up. April was a dip. It's this by percentage. Personal income increased $414 billion or 2% as a monthly rate, while consumer spending increased $2.9 billion. Or less than 0.1% in May. The decrease in personal income reflected declines in pandemic-related assistance programs. So it's the only reason it dropped was because of the loss of UI. Let's see. Yeah, we're doing. Look at this. Assets and liabilities are tracking almost evenly. There we go. Keeping it right at the. Let's see. End of first quarter 21, and this is international investment position. 1432. U.S. international trade in goods and services. There's our, let's see, negative 71. This is negative 69 in April. Goods and services trade deficit. They're going up because we're buying stuff. Foreign direct investment in the United States is actually on its way down after peaking. Let's see, where's that guy? There we go. In 2015. There you go. That's weird. Look at this. Look at Trump's little. Look at dunk dunk dunk. All right, that's interesting to see. And gross domestic product by state. Let's look at this guy. This should be interesting. Let's see. Quintile growth rates. 2020 Q4 to 2020 Q1. California grew 6.8 to 7.4%. Nevada, Utah, Arizona, Colorado up 7 to 10%. Obviously, percentage based on how far it went down. 5% there. All these, there's some growth in there. Tennessee did pretty well. It was in a hole. That's why. West Virginia, there you go. I guess that's Joe Manchin's fault, I would guess. Here's Illinois, 6.4 quintile growth rates. All right. All right, so it's terrible. Obviously, America last. Gotcha. Okay, so America's America sucks, right?
They can't even believe it.
Well, that's because we just looked at the figures and yeah, it doesn't look like it.
While I was president, it was always America first, and our country was respected.
Well, yeah, America first on the chopping block.
Again.
Yeah, one of the things he didn't tell you was that the America First movement was based entirely on a chopping block analogy, whereas the America's the last thing that we should be putting on the chopping block. Trump was like, America's the first thing we put on the chopping block.
We withdrew from the horrible Iran nuclear deal. How about that beauty? $150 billion, $1.8 billion in cash. We wiped out ISIS and other radical Islamic terrorists.
Hold on. We do this. It's so tiresome. Let's see. What should I do? That's the. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of the stuff on the Syrian stuff. Let's see. One moment. No, let's see. I mean, obviously, one person left office and he was still in there. Who really defeated Islamic State Donald Trump? One common claim by Trump's re-election campaign has been that his administration beat IS, or what's formerly known as the Islamic State terrorist group. It came up most recently in the vice presidential debate when Mike Pence boasted, "We destroyed the ISIS caliphate." You know, when President Trump came into office, ISIS had captured an area of the Middle East the size of Pennsylvania. President Trump unleashed the American military and our armed forces, destroyed the ISIS caliphate, and took down their leader al-Baghdadi without one American casualty. Similar victory claims have been made by Trump himself, dating back to October 2017. We've done more against ISIS in 9 months than the previous administration has done in its whole administration by far. By far as far as that. I'm a scholar who tracks Islamic State group and its affiliates. I pay careful attention where the group is active and holds territory as part of the University of Massachusetts Dartmouth project I lead called mappingisis.com. Data I've collected, including from official reports issued by State Department, Global Anti-ISIS, Pentagon, IHS, think tank provides data on wars. Other think tanks show that the president's claims are false. The Trump administration mostly finished the job, but the Obama administration launched a successful campaign against the Islamic State and did roughly half the work the president is trying to claim credit for. Using these sources, I've created a map for the first time that delineates territory liberated from the Islamic State under Obama and under Trump. That's this guy right here. This is this thing. ISIS rollback under Obama. This is all this area. ISIS rollback under Trump. ISIS rollback under Putin/Assad is the red area. So the dark green, that's Trump's area. The light green is what Obama did, and the red is what Putin and Assad did together. Oh, thank you. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget, subscribe on Twitch using Amazon Prime. In 2014, the Obama administration launched a military campaign called Operation Inherent Resolve to use U.S. and allied troops and provide aid to other groups to fight the Islamic State group. There we go. DoDDefense.gov. Operation Inherent Resolve, targeted operations to defeat ISIS. One mission, many nations. Combined Joint Task Force Operation Inherent Resolve. Just so you know. But no. Trump created the vaccine and did it all himself. That's the important thing. No such thing as stolen valor. He gets all the credit.
Biden has a lot to be thankful for, but Obama couldn't do it. Biden couldn't do it. We did it. We knocked out the entire caliphate in Syria, Iraq. We terminated al-Baghdadi and Soleimani. We fully rebuilt the United States military and completely restarted.
Restarted?
The NASA space program. All these ships you see, that's because of us. It was closed. There was grass growing out of the cracks on the runway. NASA, I went down, I said, this is sad. We totally opened it up. Now everyone's bidding millions of dollars to go up to space. We created Space Force, and we took care of our vets. like nobody has ever taken care of our vets.
Oh, we're going there. Are we going to?
Getting a 92% approval rating, the highest in history by many, many points. Our
From the changes made by the VA Choice Act of 2014.
vets, thank you. Our great vets. Nobody's ever done a better job with our vets. We did a fantastic. I want to thank our secretary. What a job. We recognize Jerusalem as the.
Oh, notice he's stopped saying the Choice Accountability Act.
Capital of Israel.
The Choice Access and Accountability Act of 2014. Yeah, NASA was closed. I don't know if you know that.
Recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
Oh, we've seen this before. Jesus Christ. Tired.
Witch hunt showed no collusion.
Oh my God.
Impeachment hoax number 1, I was not guilty. Impeachment hoax number 2, not guilty. We produced
Well, no, you were found guilty. You just weren't removed from office.
vaccines before the end of 2020. Remember that? They said, oh, so
3 to 5 years.
many years, don't do it. We
Don't do it?
got them done. Blue state lockdowns did not work. We said, open up your states. It's up to the governors. We said, open up your states. Schools should be opened immediately, right? Immediately. Our border security actions were completely necessary. And
Jesus Christ, this just repeats this chunk over all. This is yesterday.
Joe Biden's
Or day before yesterday, Saturday.
agenda is every bit as radical and disastrous as I predicted. I said all these things. Remember in the second debate when I talked about energy? And he said, no, he's against energy. I said, whoa.
He's against energy?
Felt like Perry Mason. That was the last question, right? That was the last question. I felt just like, I said, did you hear that? Nobody could believe it. But you know what? He wasn't lying. He's destroying the energy industry in this country. He actually, that was one of the things he told the truth on. I wonder what
Again, criminy.
I will be proved right about next. Perhaps it will be the election, perhaps.
No, just for the record, it won't be. But please, please, please go to the Michael and Dell rally, or the symposium. Please be there in person. Oh, so tired and boring.
The evidence of fraud, irregularities, and illegality is already overwhelming, and frankly, it was a long time ago. Democrats used COVID to cheat. They illegally changed the rules in the key states and mailed out millions and millions and millions of absentee ballots all over the place. People went in to vote, Republicans. I'd like to vote. I'm sorry, ma'am, you've already voted. No, I haven't. I waited for this day. I've been waiting for a year to vote.
A year.
You voted. I'm sorry, you voted. Here's an absentee ballot. They didn't use them.
They just walked away.
They didn't use them.
I am enjoying the trolls. I will say, Totally Jersey, we've got a good number of trolls today, and I want to thank them for boosting our numbers. You know, because you and I, we get together here and we enjoy what we're doing. They come here and they're miserable. So, you know, getting their time and eyeballs during this, it's a special gift.
They stole the votes. People walked in by the tens of thousands to vote. And these are solid, strong, great people. And they said, you've already voted.
Yeah, that did not happen.
And three things
Thanks,
happened.
Francie.
People would go crazy. People would get a little bit upset, or people would just shrug their shoulders and just leave. They'd go, hey, let's leave.
Hey, let's leave before they figure out that I was lying and I was trying to vote twice because Trump told me to. By the way, we're at 18,594. Don't forget to subscribe on YouTube, no matter what your preferred outlet is. If you're watching on Twitch or Twitter or Facebook, hop on over to infotainmentwars.com. Just subscribe. Well, that's free. That just helps our numbers.
Shrug their shoulders. That's hard to say.
Is it?
And they mailed out ballot applications to every person on the rolls,
Applications.
dead or alive, legal or illegal,
Well, you're not on the rolls if you're illegal.
right?
No.
They mailed out these applications. They used hundreds of millions of dollars from left-wing billionaires to put on lawful drop boxes all over Democrat-run cities to scoop up ballots in swing states.
Yeah, real ballots by real people that the right wing in those areas tried to limit, because of their control over the governor's house or the Secretary of State's office.
Nobody's ever seen these drop boxes. They're called drop boxes. People coming in, nobody knows who the hell voted. And they came out 96% for Sleepy Joe Biden, right? 96. He
No.
got 96% in some of them.
In some of them, yeah, because those are the areas where Biden voters they knew that there was a big group of them there, and so they denied them the ability to have drop boxes in their area. And so because of funding, so other groups decide, we'll pay for them. If you put them there, we'll pay for them.
I got 4%. Actually, that's better than I thought, because at least they didn't keep 100%. This was the most corrupt election. Take a look at New York. Watch what's happening there. But this is the most corrupt election. Ours is worse than what's happening in New York, worse. They sent political operatives door to door in Democrat neighborhoods to harvest Democrat votes by the thousands, and like in Georgia, deleted over 100,000 voters off the voter rolls after the election.
Yeah, because they didn't vote.
I said, why didn't you do it before the election?
Because you have the chance to vote in 2 elections. If you don't vote in 2 elections, they purge you. So they'd only not voted in 1 election. They were still registered voters.
I lost a very close election. It wasn't close, actually. I won by a lot. But the loss they gave me was very close, like 11,000 votes. 100,000 votes were deleted after the election.
No. The 100,000 votes were not deleted.
What's going on with Georgia? Think of it. More than 100,000. And I just asked one simple question.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you do that, if you don't mind, before the election? Wouldn't
Because those people had the right to vote.
that be nice?
Because those people had the right to vote.
They abolished signature verification requirements, created a powerful system for media and online censorship of their opponents, and did everything possible to facilitate fraud, just like you would do in a third world country. That's what happened with this election. That's why there are so many people.
So during your presidency, let me get this right. During Trump's presidency, America became a third world country. That's some odd. I hope you can fix my Venmo. Oh, hi, Stuttering John. That's an odd. Is that a humble brag technically?
People here tonight. If we lost the election, I still would have a good crowd, because we have a good. But you know what? I wouldn't have a crowd that goes beyond what the eye can see.
Well, sure you would.
That stays in a thunderstorm where they're going, ladies and gentlemen, there are massive rains. We're in the midst of a storm. There's lightning. Please, please go home. And nobody wants to go home. They didn't leave. Look at you. Some
What do you think, they have something to live for?
of the women are a mess. Now, actually, it's true. No, look at a woman. She's a mess. But the truth is, you look more beautiful now than you did when you went to the beauty parlor. So you can save a lot of money. That's true. You
Ew.
actually look better. You just don't know it. You're real. You're real. It's great.
Yeah, he likes the natural look. He always has.
It's great. But think of it. Thunderstorms are coming. Please evacuate. Please leave. Nobody left. Nobody left.
Asshole, these people won't even get the vaccine you're bragging about. Of course they'll stand in a field in a thunderstorm, ass up, waiting for lightning.
I'm glad to say you're all here, because, if you weren't, I would be blamed 100%. And why didn't Democrats get legislative approval mandated under the U.S. Constitution to change their election laws? They changed.
Because there's an emergency. They have the ability to, in their constitutions, due to an emergency. They don't have to pull together a session. If there was a hurricane they wouldn't have to pull together a special session to deal with that extra, to add extra days. They could just order it because it's an emergency.
Change it without getting legislative approval.
Jesus.
Information is coming out now in Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and except for weak Michigan state Republican senators, I mean, can you imagine Detroit? Detroit, they say, is the single most corrupt
Black.
district area, Wayne
Black.
County,
Black county.
in the whole country.
Because why? Oh, because it's full of black people.
You had people that refused to sign documents saying the election was over. They
Yeah, right-wing Trump supporters who aren't themselves.
refused. Two people, brave people. They refused. They said, we can't sign those documents. This thing is terrible. Detroit. Philadelphia. We have a U.S. attorney in Philadelphia that says he wasn't allowed to go and check Philadelphia.
You have to be able to check Philadelphia. You got to walk over there, rattle the chain on the door.
It's a big statement.
You can't check. He wasn't even allowed to check Philadelphia.
I'll tell you who didn't allow him someday.
Hi.
I'll do it at my next rally. But can you imagine this? Because, you know, we have a deep state, too, in this country.
Sure.
And a deep state, they work with the Democrats and the Republicans, and those are the Republicans I don't like. In fact, those are Republicans that in many ways are worse than the Democrats.
That's right. Yeah, please tell us all about this. Why can't they see he's the snake? Right. Please don't say if he does the snake.
Okay? They're worse. If Mitch McConnell had the courage and the guts, and if he was a real leader, he would have wanted to look into all the corruption that took place. He knew about it.
Well, yeah, that's how he kept his office in Kentucky. Oh.
During the presidential election, a lot of these people sitting over here, they looked into it and they said, that's real. And our country may very well have been in a much different position than it is today. I would have been vetoing every one of those bills that was sent. He
Really? The COVID relief bill? All
couldn't
right.
approve it fast enough. He couldn't approve it. Well, it's time to get to work on our country. Oh, great. First thing he did is he signed 17 executive orders that were a kill. Bernie Sanders can't even believe it's happening, okay? This is so far left of Bernie Sanders, he's going around saying, I can't believe this. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened. I told you. Instead, McConnell
I told you, even if it's not true.
rushed in and approved of Biden, and he looked at this stuff. He said, we have to get back to running our country, really. And you had the 17 executive orders immediately signed, and then day after day after day, he was signing executive orders that were destroying our country. I would have vetoed every single legislative approval sent to my desk, and we wouldn't be having any problems at the border, with the economy, with the inflation.
You wouldn't have inflation.
We wouldn't be having any problems. We would have a country the likes of which nobody has ever seen before. It's very...
Yeah, America, by the way, just so you know, according to Trump, you used to suck. You just sucked. You sucked for a long time. When Reagan was president, when Bush was president, Clinton, Obama, Carter for sure, right? Nixon, Kennedy, FDR, like this, you sucked. You sucked until he came along with his twice impeached, one-term failure presidency. You don't know what good is. You never had it so good. 600,000 dead. Hey, it was an attack by China that he let happen and sold them all our beef. But
Mitch McConnell, the Republicans have to get themselves a real leader. You got some great senators, but they have to get themselves a real leader. And by the way,
Jesus.
who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who shot Ashley Babbitt? Who?
A Secret Service agent or a Capitol Guard?
Who shot Ashley Babbitt? We all saw the hand. We saw the gun. I spoke to her mother the other day, an incredible woman. She's just devastated, like it happened yesterday. Devastated. You know, if that were on the other side, the person that did the shooting would be strung up and hung.
Jesus. No, actually, you guys are the ones that brought a gallows. Unless you're saying Mike Pence would have shot if it was a Democrat coming through the thing. It's very confusing.
Okay.
No, not okay.
Now they don't want to give the name.
Yeah, because they'll get killed.
They don't want to give, but people know the name. People know where he came from.
Where'd he come from?
It's a terrible thing. Right shot. Boom. There was no reason for it.
Yes, there was. Yes, yeah, there was. They were still clearing congressional people, and a mob of people was coming through a barricaded door. She was the first one through, carrying a backpack with God knows what in it after pipe bombs had been left around, and these assholes were yelling, "Hang Mike Pence."
Who shot Ashley Babbitt? It's got to be released.
No, it doesn't.
And how come so many people are still in jail?
As I tweeted, who shot Ashley Babbitt? First name fuck, last name you.
Over January 6th, when nobody paid a price for the fire and carnage and death that took place in Democrat-run cities throughout our country.
Sure they did. There's been arrests all over the place.
Including Antifa and BLM. How come?
Well, because there have been. You just didn't give a shit.
How come?
Because to actually know about those folks would eat into your narrative.
And why are our Republican leaders like McConnell afraid to take up the subject and talk about it? Disgrace to our country.
I don't know. They still have their job. Maybe there's a strategy there.
We need strong leaders. We need leaders like people like this.
Well, some of them.
With me at the top of the ticket, not a single Republican House member lost their race for the first time in decades. Not one. We were supposed to lose 25 seats, and we won 16. Think of it. Look at that swing.
Uh-huh.
You know, I called 56 phone calls. They're called town hall calls.
That's what they're called. They're called town hall calls. Holy shit.
They go to the district.
Yeah, they town hall calls. In the district town hall call.
I'd have 10, 15, 20,000 people.
We listened to some of them.
Every single call I made, the person won. I went to Kevin McCarthy. I said, Kevin, give me every congressman who's down, every congressman who's even, and every congressman who's up by a little. You know, can't call everybody. It turned out to be 56 calls. I made 56 calls. We didn't lose one seat. If I didn't make those calls, you would have lost 25 to 40 seats.
Uh-huh.
And if I
Nothing like proving a negative.
didn't come to the rescue of the United States Senate.
Thank you, Andrea.
Your numbers now, instead of 50-50, would be 60-40. And Mitch
Yeah, there weren't 10 seats in the Senate that were going to...
McConnell should never have lost those 2 seats in the great state of Georgia.
How did he lose them and you won everything else?
Should have never lost them.
These were Trump sycophants in that state.
We would be 60-40 right now. I did all of those teletown halls.
Teletown halls.
We received, and I received almost,
Jesus.
think of this, you know, they like to say, well, the local congressman or the local representative, state rep, he was more popular than Trump, but they don't say that. They say there's no way. But here's the number, it just came out. I received almost 1.5 million more votes than the Republican House candidates combined. Think of that.
Well, yeah, because they're districts, they're small districts in your nationwide office.
So in other words, I had a man come up to me, a real pro, older guy, said, sir, I was going to lose my election. I was going to lose by a lot. And then you got involved. It was a state known as Arizona. And I'm very proud of those Republican state representatives. These state Senate representatives, what they're doing. He said, I was going to lose my election. I was going to lose it big, sir.
It's a true story. I'm sure. Yeah, he had tears in his eyes, sir.
And then you came along and you did
This big butch guy never cries.
rallies and the level of
This was his first time in the Oval Office.
and I won my election by a landslide. But you were much more popular than me, sir, and you won by much less than I did. He said the election was rigged, sir. There was no way that it was possible that I got more votes. I only won because of you. And they said I got more votes. But look
Well, that's your idea. That's not necessarily true in the district. You're just a relative
at
unknown.
that, 1.5 million more votes I got. And that's okay. That's not bragging. That's just to show you how corrupt this election was. We won Ohio in a landslide. We won Florida by the largest margin of any candidate in decades.
And still you lost. Let me guess. If you win Florida and Ohio, I used to hear you won the whole thing.
And
Good
only
God.
once, many, many years ago, did a candidate lose a presidential election but won Florida and Ohio. Many, many years ago. In all of history, if you win Florida, 2 big states, and Ohio, you're a Republican, you win. Except for me. Once in history. But one that was never, ever was if you win Florida, you win Ohio, and you win Iowa. I won all 3 by very large numbers. Nobody has ever lost an election if you won all 3. And I won all 3 by a lot. And this country's in big trouble when an election cannot be open, free, fair, and not stolen and rigged.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you guys are planning on 2022. I don't know. Why would you bother? Yes, it had happened before, Bob. Excellent point. I don't know that he notices.
You know what?
What?
We got them by surprise in 2016, and they worked for 4 years to make sure that never happens again.
And so you lost and they beat you and snowflakes wiped you out.
And they're not going to do it with their policies, as we discussed. But that's the way it is. I want to thank every one of you here tonight who have worked so hard for our Florida victory. It was an incredible victory. It was a victory where we were outspent by tens of millions of dollars. We could not have done it without you and a lot of the people in the audience. I recognize so many. I love this state. We
You live there.
easily won the
You could drive home. You're going to drive home.
Cuban-American vote in Florida, including a mammoth
Jesus.
increase in Miami-Dade County.